Every new year gives us an opportunity to go after our dreams and achieve great goals. And I'm sure you have a few for this year as well. Now, the body is critical to achieving these. And this episode of Business Connect will take a look at what we ought to do to ensure that we're fit and healthy to achieve those goals in 2021. Join me as I have a word with Dr. Na Ashele-Dodo of Nova Wellness Center in our big conversation segment before I take you into the digital business where we enter the world of payments. And then we'll talk to a man who's real about the hustle, cracking open coconuts and making you healthy. This is Business Connect and you're welcome. My name is Inshira Adu. Thanks very much, Dr. Na Ashele-Dodo, for making time for us on Business Connect. Now,
it's a pleasure.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Inshira.
You know, everybody starts the new year with a new zest and quest to achieve better goals than they did the year before. How important is health and wellness that one does a check at the start of the year?
It's extremely important, especially the times we find ourselves in with COVID-19 and this pandemic. And I think now more than ever, we all, individuals, corporations, have to be extremely concerned about how healthy we are or how healthy our employees are, right from 1st January all the way to the 31st. Because one thing we learned last year is the healthier you are in general, the less risk you have at getting very complicated conditions as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So it's very, very important that corporations especially put in some measures. We're not saying everybody should turn into a hospital, but there are very basic things that people should be aware of. Your vitals, for instance, and it's not that difficult to have a blood pressure machine in your office. So simple things. Health and wellness should be simple. A lot of the times people hear of wellness and think of the luxury, and it sounds like some animal that is somewhere else and not on planet Earth. But health and wellness should be very simple. It should be very tailored to your own environment, your own company, what you do and things like that. So if you're able to put in those basic measures, it would help not only with COVID-19, but general health and well-being. And in the long run, it helps with your productivity at work.
Yeah.
Because if you have sick employees, guess what? Work just doesn't get done. So the question is, what simple steps can you put in place today to make your staff healthier so that they can be more productive for
you? Know, it's interesting you mentioned that you need to know what your vitals and your numbers are. So your BP, your blood sugar and all of those things. Oftentimes, those are the things we think of when we think about health and wellness. How important, and this conversation is appropriate with you because I would like to learn the importance of the spine. Spinal health. I mean, we all move about and we're standing because we have a spine that works.
Right. The spine is probably the most important aspect of our bodies, especially when it comes to working or the workforce. The spine is your framework. That is what everything else is hooked onto. So if your framework or your housing is not in proper shape or form, you realize that nothing else works. Unfortunately, because the spine is in our back and we may not necessarily see it or we don't even feel it, it's not like, you know, if your wrist hurts and you can tell and you can move it around. Most people don't realize that it's an essential part of how they walk, how they move, how they sit. So this is the time where we need to focus on that, especially because of the tech age we're in now. A lot of the industrialized workers are sitting for longer hours. A lot of them are stuck behind their computers in bad posture. And then now the in thing is working from home. And I can tell you, Inshira, almost every day I have somebody who comes in here and tells me, since I've been working from home, since I've been working from home, I'm having a lot of back pain, I'm having a lot of neck pain, and it's all because we are not taking care of our spines. So now more than ever, I think that people or workers should be looking at exercises. And when I say exercise, I don't mean you're going to the gym to exercise. There are exercises you can do right at your desk. There are things that you can do to maintain proper posture, which doesn't mean you have to go and find a posture expert. And, you know, so some of these simple things that you can learn will really go a long way. Then, of course, there are the people who may have already developed complicated back or spinal problems. How do we mitigate those? All the research is showing that the more structural corrective measures are better to deal with these musculoskeletal issues. So that's your chiropractic care, physical therapy, massage therapy. Here at Nova Wellness Center, we now have spinal decompression. So all these are natural, more conservative ways that people can deal with musculoskeletal issues.
So an organization welcomes its team back to work in the new year. What should be the key things that the head of HR or CEO should be looking out for to ensure that the team is ready to take on the New Year's challenge?
All right, great. So for me, the first thing I would say is everybody needs a full medical checkup. So when you check your vitals, when you check your chest to make sure your heart and lungs are functioning well, you also need to check your spine. There are so many spinal conditions that are there, but people may just not know that it's even there. So it's important that an HR manager is looking out. Does somebody have scoliosis? Is somebody suffering from sciatica because of spinal or pelvic misalignments? That also needs to be looked at. Then the next thing we want to check would be your ergonomics. You know, depending on what you're doing, how are you doing it? Your workstation, how are you seated? Your chair, your furniture that broke 6 months ago, has it been fixed? Your computer, the glare, the lights in your room, is your room well aerated? So there are so many things that an HR manager can look at. And if you pay attention to the details, you realize that if you can correct all those minor details, you're going to prevent your workers from getting sick in the first place. Because if you don't prevent that, then by March, people start complaining, my back hurts, or I have a cold, or I'm having issues with my blood pressure, because you're not managing stress and things like that. So if you're able to do this medical screen at the beginning of the work year, you realize that you prevent a lot of issues if you can solve the problems that can be solved as quickly as possible. And in the long run, you're going to be more productive.
You know, it's quite interesting you mentioned these things that need to be done. From the little I've observed working in other jurisdictions and also observing multinationals, they tend to have a dedicated officer. Someone who does, I think it's occupational health,
yes,
to ensure that these things are done. Is it the preserve of a large corporation to have an occupational health person at work, or even consider doing any of such?
Absolutely. I would strongly recommend it. Actually, all the research is showing that 1/3 of leave of absence, so I can come to work today, I'm not feeling well, is due to musculoskeletal diseases. And musculoskeletal diseases comes from repetitive action. So the things you're doing on a daily basis, you're typing, you're pulling things from a shelf, all these things, or you're bending. So when we talk about musculoskeletal diseases, most people are thinking about, oh, it's for the office workers. Not necessarily. We have people who are doing construction, even hairdressers. I have a bunch of patients who are hairdressers. Imagine having to be doing this all day long, braiding hair. So ergonomics is huge. And so not even multinationals only, and it doesn't even have to be an occupational health practitioner, but somebody in the office could be looking out for some of these signs. You know, are you always twisting yourself to pick something from a printer? Something as simple as that, but you've been doing it for 10 years since you've been working in this office.
And you've been wondering why you have a kink in your neck.
You've been wondering why there's something funny at the end of the day, every day. So, again, keeping it simple. But yes, having an ergonomist or an occupational health professional or somebody in the office who has been trained to look out for some of these things amongst the workforce would really help to prevent a lot of problems in the future.
Interesting. So it's not the size of the business. It's just
Not
that
at
you
all.
must be able to do this and talk to a professional like yourself. I
Sure,
guess.
sure.
Okay. Now, so we've done all of these things. We know that, you know, the back is important. There's something that's always amazed me. When I hear spa, I start thinking, okay, I've made millions and I just want to go and sip on champagne and have someone just dote on me. But how important is that to the well-being of an individual?
It is critical as well. A lot of people, like what you're saying, tell me, oh, as for massage is a luxury. As for massage is not my type of thing. But depending on what you do, depending on your work activities, it is very possible that at the end of the day, you have so much stress in your muscles and your joints. And massage therapy is one very effective way to get rid of that tension or muscle spasms that you may be having in your body. Because if you don't do that, if you don't do massage or you don't do chiropractic or any of these other therapies, what happens is slowly you're building degeneration in your body. Especially if you're dealing with these repetitive action, which is causing this ache and pain. So as time goes on, if you continue saying massage is a luxury or chiropractic is a luxury, then the problem slowly gets worse. And especially around here, we love to resort to medication. Pain medication. Okay, I don't know if there's any other country in the world or maybe in Africa who takes pain medication for everything in this world. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a place for that. There's a place for medicine and we need it. However, there are simple things you can do to prevent you from having to take that pain medication. And one of those things is massage therapy as well as chiropractic. And it comes with little to no risk. And yes, there are massages that may be more of a luxury. However, when we do deep tissue massage or when you do hot stone massage, it doesn't just relax you, but it helps even with your nerve stimulation. It helps with circulation. It helps to eliminate toxins from your body. So all these things are necessary to help make you more healthy and therefore be more productive.
Businesses that provide healthcare for staff. If you look at the trend, it seems there's a lot more focus on treatment. But in what you said prevention, that, you know, these things help prevent situations from developing or degenerating. Why do you see that happening? Should we be focusing more on prevention than the treatment itself?
100%. So in our society, prevention of anything, not just musculoskeletal diseases, but anything in general, we don't do very well when it comes to prevention. So 100%. If you look at the US economy, for instance, year on year, they spend close to, the last research I saw, I think about $70 million a year just on claims from work injuries and things like that. So it's a very expensive treatment or expensive protocol if you're not preventing things and you're only treating. So you're not putting in any measures to mitigate that injury. For instance, I've done ergonomic assessments for companies where I would see somebody stepping on a wooden chair to pick something from a height, which is so wrong. And sometimes it's a very big company, you expect that they can afford a ladder so that people can safely get onto a higher height to pick something. But something like that, if you break a leg, that company is in trouble because you're going to have to spend money to take care of whoever has gotten injured. So preventive measures are huge. You could have prevented that accident by simply providing a ladder for your employees. So depending on the workforce, the culture, what you do, it is important to look at where you can bring in those measures so that people don't get hurt in the first place, so that you don't have to spend money unnecessarily to cure them.
How can organizations ensure that this mindset of prevention becomes a culture? You know, because you show up for work for the first day and you're showed to your desk, get on with work. What should be the process of building that culture and ensuring that people are safe at work?
I think first of all, it's information. People just don't have that information to know that, you know, my laptop is too low, I need to bring it up to about my eye level. People don't know that even the chair they are sitting on, it has features that can make it more safe whilst they sit on it. So I think that starting off, companies should have a certain protocol or a certain structure. When new people come in, this is how we enroll them. They're going to go through some assessment. How tall are you? Because I'll see very, very tall people who are using the same desk and chairs as the shortest people in the company. So I think it's all about having the right information. Once you have the right information, then slowly, and then you can also have, you know, focused groups who are dedicated to making sure that everybody else is doing the right thing. I call them posture prefects, sort of, okay? Making sure that people are sitting well, making sure that people have the right furniture. That way, at the end of the day, everybody in the department is doing better or is doing well. So these are some simple things. Or having models, you know, maybe in each department, we know that this particular person is who to speak to if you want to know how to maintain good posture, how to sit straight, so that there are people that others can see, you know, these guys are doing it right. How can I also sit like that? How can I also use my phone by holding it up this way instead of constantly looking down? So you need to have a few people at least in that company who are doing the right thing. And then over time, you know, if you can put in fun things to do, like, you know, today is Posture Wednesday, everybody has to hold their phone up, we don't want to see anybody bending down. Or today is Water Tuesday, make sure you drink 3 bottles of water before you leave the office. You know, you can put in very, very fun and innovative ways to encourage people, but it takes a lot of determination, it takes a lot of discipline. But if you have a few people in the company who are willing to do this, then over time you see that more people will be encouraged to do so.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll learn some more, and we'll get into some examples of exercises and things you and I can do to make sure that we're healthy through 2021 and we're delivering on our goals. This is Business Connect, and the big conversation is coming to you with my guest, Dr. Na Ashile-Dodo. She is the founder and lead practitioner at Nova Wellness Center. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business Connect with me, Inshira Ado, and we're still in the big conversation with Dr. Na Ashile-Dodo. She is the CEO and founder of Nova Wellness Center. From the conversation so far, at least I'm taking away one thing, that everything I am physically is hinged on how healthy my spine is. And there are things that we ought to do to ensure that we're safeguarding that spine. Of course, there's only one. Okay. Now, share with us some practical things that a person who may be working, say, in an environment where it's more sedentary,
Okay.
and then for somebody who may be working where they need to do a little bit of physical work,
Okay.
and let's see what things they ought to do practically to ensure that they're fit and healthy.
All right, excellent. So first of all, again, I'm going back to COVID a little bit here and there just because of the times we're in. So the vitals is something that Ghanaians are very lazy about. You need to know your numbers as often as possible.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I would strongly recommend that every worker should have, either at home or in your office somewhere, is what we call an oximeter.
Okay.
It's just a very small unit which you can use to check your oxygen levels, and especially for COVID, it helps to let you know if your oxygen levels are going down and you may want to go to the hospital. So that's one thing, in addition to your pulse and your blood pressure, your sugar levels and all that. Now, if you're in an office space, it's a lot. That's one major problem. It's so bad we call it sitting disease. Yes, we've actually given it a name. So a lot of workers have sitting disease because we get to the office at 8 and we're sitting sometimes till 8 in the evening. You may have taken a short break here and there, but that's, our bodies were not made to sit for that long a time. So it's very important. I recommend that every 45 minutes, maximum in an hour, you want to take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
5 minutes, walk around, go get some water, stretch a little bit. There are simple stretches you can do right at your desk just to get the blood flowing again, and even helps you to focus a bit more. Now, the working from home paradigm has even made the sitting disease worse, because now you have people who may not necessarily have an office chair and desk at home. So I have patients who, I had a new mom who had about a 3-month-old baby, and she's working from home. So she's telling me she's on her bed, you know, taking care of her baby with her laptop on her laps.
Oh,
and
goodness.
yes. So a lot of that is going on. People are working from their couches, laying down funny. So all that needs to change. If you're working from home, you need to create a workstation at home. It doesn't mean you have to get a high-end office chair. You can use your dining table as your office space, so long as you have a decent chair and a table clear that you can work. The important thing is to sit upright whilst you're working. So if you have a simple chair that can support your spine and you can sit upright, you can support it with some pillows, support your back with some pillows, for instance, to maintain that upright posture. And that becomes your office space, not the bean bag or the couch or the kitchen stool. No, that just wouldn't help.
Okay.
For those who are using computers or laptops, the best thing you want to do is to make sure the topmost part of your monitor is about eye level.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are creating what we call text neck. Again, another fancy name for what we call forward head posture. So
you're constantly doing this.
Yes, it's either your phone or your tablet or your computer, and your head is bent that way. So that creates a lot of neck pain, headaches, and things like that. So it's important for you to check how high or low your computer is. If your computer monitor is high enough, so the top is about eye level, then you don't have any reason to be bending down. It forces you to keep your head up, and therefore keeping your spine straight.
So it's possible that there are people who have, you know, tension in their neck and occasional headaches, and they're popping pills, but really, if they corrected their posture in front of their computers, it might fix the problem.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So you keep taking the pills. It may give you a bit of relief, but if by morning you go back to your desk and you assume that posture again, we're back to square one. So you think you are trying to fix that neck and headache problem, but in the long run, you might end up with some ulcer, because those painkillers are also not too good for your digestive system. So if you fix the posture issue, you'll be amazed. You will start to get better. And if you can maintain it, drink a lot of water, do some stretches, receive chiropractic care, massage therapy, all these things can definitely help with that.
How often should one see a chiropractor or get a massage?
So as far as chiropractic is concerned, what I strongly recommend is that you should have a yearly spinal evaluation.
Okay.
So most people have no idea what's going on in their spine. So if you go to a well-licensed and accredited chiropractor, they can check your spine, they can check your posture, check your range of motion. Okay, I always say that if all of us in here were to touch our toes, you realize that some people have problems. But if you're youthful, you're young, you're energetic, you're healthy, you should be able to touch your toes. So if you can't do that, we need to know why there's a hindrance there. So having a yearly spinal evaluation is what I recommend. Then based on what the chiropractor finds through that evaluation, they can recommend a treatment plan for you. As far as massage therapy is concerned, it varies because everybody is different based on what is happening in their body. Some of my clients are coming for massage once a month, others are coming once a week, others are coming a couple of times a year. So everybody is different. Once we go through some form of evaluation, whether through the chiropractic evaluation or the massage therapists have their own way of evaluating, then they can recommend something for you.
Wow. So tell me what goes into a chiropractic, what do you call it? You know, how you fix people's backs and
the
evaluations.
adjustment?
Yeah, adjustment, yes.
Okay.
How does the adjustment help a person to basically live healthier?
Okay. All right. So let me describe exactly what goes into the adjustment first of all. So this is my body here, my rubber spine. Okay. So this is what we have in our back, what we commonly call the backbone. Now, these are the spinal bones or the spinal vertebrae. Now, through our daily lives, sitting for long, bending improperly and things like that, we can get spinal misalignments. So the bones go out of their normal place because these are all movable and that's how we can move our bodies. So when that happens, it puts a lot of stress on the nerve. These yellow things here represent the nerve, okay? So when you have pressure on this nerve, it's not able to send impulses from your brain out to the rest of your body at 100%. So there's some miscommunication. Is that miscommunication that your body senses as pain? It's because something is not right in here. So a chiropractor will look at your x-rays, will look at any posture distortions, and then also feel the spine. And then we can feel it that this bone is not moving well. This bone has shifted this way. Then we would very gently put our hands on that specific bone and put a very, very gentle force through that point. And that is what we call...
So that's the adjustment.
That is the powerful chiropractic adjustment, which does wonders. Yes. So when we do this, we bring the bone back to its normal place. There's less pressure on the nerve, and now information is able to flow again. So over time, your body starts to heal because there's less pressure on the nerves. Mind you, the nervous system is the most powerful system in the body. So once the nerves are free and information flow is restored, your body heals, and with time, the aches and the pains will also start to go away.
I remember my biology from secondary school. So the nerves are what carries your the
impulses,
the neurons, right?
Yes,
the sensory neurons.
Yes, very
and
good.
Where your movement is where your motor neurons
come in.
So when there's a misalignment in how the two work, then you're going to have all these other things. So the pain is actually a symptom of a misaligned back.
Absolutely, that's probably the most common symptom. Pain.
Wow.
Sometimes it's also limited range of motion. Like you mentioned, the motor neuron. So if your motor neuron to one of your neck muscles, for instance, is not firing, moving your neck would be a problem because that nerve is not reaching its final destination well. So that muscle may not be contracting well enough so that you can move your neck.
So what are some of the ranges of inhibitions one would face physically if they have a misaligned back, apart from maybe not being able to move your neck well? What other pain and things would you get?
So you can also have numbness, nerve irritation also.
Numbness.
Anansi. The Anansi-like feeling. It can be in your hands. It can be in your legs. When you hear people talking about sciatica, for instance, sciatica is lower back pain with usually numbness or tingling going down either the left or right leg. You can also have weakness. Apart from difficulty moving, you may have weakness in your arm. You are not able to carry things. You can have weakness in your legs, difficulty walking, difficulty moving any part of your body. All these are signs and symptoms of spinal problems.
Oh, wow. So, well, there's a lot for us to do. So, ultimate responsibility lies with me. But if I have employees, what must I do going forward, apart from maybe providing desk assessment, doing the ergonomic stuff, and also, you know, giving them information? What should I do as an employer to ensure that they are fully firing, because it's in my interest?
So what I'll say is, in my experience, the employers that are successful in implementing health and wellness programs for their employees are the ones who themselves live that example. So they themselves, if you're an employer and you are not healthy and you're not taking care of yourself, it's very difficult for you to encourage your employees to do that. So I strongly would advise or recommend for employers to take their own health extremely seriously. Employers are very notorious for taking care of everything else but not focusing on themselves. You need to rest. You need to have vacation time. You need to exercise. You need to eat well. You need to drink lots of water and not have a lot of fizzy drinks. Because if I'm an employer and I don't drink fizzy drinks, I mainly take water, especially when I'm at work. It becomes difficult for my employees to be bringing in some of these things that I don't recommend. So I would strongly recommend for employers to make it a point this year in 2021 to be healthy themselves.
So model the life they want to see.
Model
in
the life,
employees.
yes. If you become that example, I mean, if you're coming to work and trying to mobilize people to go for a health walk once a month, for instance, and you are leading that health walk, your employees are definitely going to follow. But when people don't do these things, but they expect their employees to be healthy so they can work well, then it becomes difficult. So I would say that employers should make sure they take care of themselves very well, and then they can encourage the employees to do so as well.
In this day and age, we all work all kinds of crazy hours. Somehow we're told if you drink 8 glasses of water a day at the minimum, you're doing it right. How many hours of rest must one have?
So when you say rest, you mean sleep or?
Yes, sleep.
Okay. So sleep, all the research is showing if you can do 6 to 8 hours a night. Now, when I say 6 to 8 hours, uninterrupted sleep. Because sometimes when you say that, people think, okay, you get home at 8, you eat dinner, you pass out in the couch till 10, and then you get up, you go and do something, you go and sleep again, you wake up at 2, and it's all over the place. No, your body needs a minimum of 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep.
Why is that so important?
Great question, Inshira. Now, as you and I are standing here, there are so many millions of reactions that are happening so that we can communicate, so that the brain is connecting to my ears and your ears, your mouth, and everything is working. So your body is very active. So there are certain things that your body cannot do whilst we are this active. Those things only happen when you're sleeping. is when you're sleeping that your body gets a chance to replenish all the activities that happen during the day. You know, there's building up, there's breaking down, but when you're sleeping, then your body has the chance to really take out the toxins, rebuild, refill, replenish, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have the energy to start your day. But if you don't get that rest, then it's just as if you're carrying the activity from the day throughout the night, and then another day starts and you keep going and going and going. And then one day your body says, nope, today you're not going anywhere.
Right.
You have a breakdown and then everything just goes haywire. So you need to have a minimum of 6 hours of sleep so that your body can rejuvenate.
You know, I love motorsport, and it's as if, you know, when you're watching races, the cars would be racing and then they have to do a pit stop to change their tires and do so. Sleep is pretty much the pit stop the body needs to be able to function properly.
Exactly. It's a bit of a maintenance, you know, so that you can keep going. Like we maintain our cars, we maintain...
I think we maintain our cars better than we maintain our bodies.
Way better. Way better. Because when you see a flat tire, you're going to fix it. But here we are, you have a shoulder pain.
I can live with it.
Yeah, then it gets worse, it gets worse. Then one day, oh, I can lift my shoulder. So we need to pay attention to our bodies. We need to understand our bodies so that the minute something goes wrong, you feel it, you deal with it, then it doesn't get worse.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Nashili Dodo, for the education. I don't mind having my back checked, and hopefully after that I'll be able to be doing this more regularly. But it's been great talking to you.
Thank you for
lots of
having me.
knowledge, and hopefully we can all see 2021 through and stay healthy throughout.
Great. All the best, Inshiro.
Thanks. Right, so we'll be coming your way with a lot more in a moment. I'll take you into the hustle and the digital economy segment of this show, Business Connect. My name is Inshirado. My guest on the big conversation has been Dr. Na Ashili Dodo. She is the founder and CEO of Nova Wellness Center here in Accra. And do take care of yourself, because a misaligned back or spine could lead to misaligned profits, and nobody wants that. We're in business to make a profit, and so I wish you well. Stay healthy. We'll be right back with more.